There is a stretch of years hiding in every retirement, usually 65 to 73. In it, a retiree sits in the lowest tax bracket they will ever see again. Lower than during their career and lower than it will be at 75. It is a genuine dip, a once-in-a-lifetime discount on your own money. And most retirees do absolutely nothing with it. The paycheck has stopped, so the big income is gone. Social Security has not fully ramped up or has not even started. And the government has not yet forced money out of your accounts. For a few short years, your taxable income falls into a valley. Then, at 73, the door slams shut and the bill comes roaring back. Here's what almost nobody tells you about that valley. It is not a problem to survive, it is the best window you will get. And it has a hard expiration date stamped right on it. Miss it. And you hand the government a bigger share every year. Then you hand your heirs the leftover tax bill on top. The most boring years of retirement are the most valuable ones. And they are ticking away right now, while people worry about the wrong things. So let me be honest, because these numbers are not small. At 73, the IRS forces you to pull money from your traditional accounts, whether you actually need that money or not. It is called a required minimum distribution, an RMD for short. Take a retiree with $1 million in a traditional IRA. Using the IRS factor of 26.5 at age 73, the first withdrawal is set. That forced first withdrawal comes to about 37,736 pounds. It lands on top of your Social Security and any pension, all taxable. And it does not shrink, the forced percentage climbs every year. The account you spent 40 years building becomes a growing tax bill. You saved diligently, and the IRS quietly kept a claim on all of it. Every deposit you never taxed is a debt coming due later. At 73, the divisor is 26.5, so you pulled just under 4%. By your 80s, that forced slice grows to 6, 7, 8%. The IRS is not helping you spend evenly, it is draining the account. So the tax problem does not arrive once and leave, it grows louder. And here's the part that stings. The penalty for ignoring it is brutal. Miss a required distribution and the IRS charges 25%. Fix it quickly, and they may drop it to 10% instead. Either way, you are paying a penalty on money that was always taxable. The first one can wait to April, but that grace period is a trap. It jams 2 withdrawals into 1 year and lifts your bracket. Let me be honest, the rules are designed to get their money, and the default path walks you straight into the highest bill. Stay with me to the end because the last piece ties it together. It turns this window from something that happens to you into a tool. Some retirees pay half the lifetime tax of their neighbors. And this is not a scheme, it is written plainly into the tax code. The only reason it feels secret is that nobody sends you a letter. The IRS reminds you when withdrawals begin, never about the cheap years. That is exactly why you have to know this one yourself. Let us start with why the valley even exists in the first place. During your working years, your income is high and your bracket is high. Then you retire, and for a while your reported income drops low. Maybe you live off cash savings, or a Roth, or a delayed check. So your taxable income sits in the 10 or 12% bracket, or lower. In 2026, a couple can earn a lot and still sit inside 12%, and the deductions in these years are quietly generous too. In 2026, a married couple gets a $32,200 standard deduction first. If both spouses are 65 or older, they stack extra age-based amounts. There is also a new senior bonus up to $6,000 per person. That is $12,000 for a qualifying couple. From 2025 through 2028, it is a big chunk you can pull out and shelter before tax applies. But that senior bonus fades as income rises, then disappears. So it rewards exactly the careful, moderate conversions we mean. For a few short years, the deductions are fat and the brackets are wide. That combination simply does not come back later. Now hold that next to what is coming at 73. The forced withdrawals switch on and your delayed check is at its max. 2 big income streams turn on within a few years, and they stack. A couple in the 12% bracket lands in 22 or 24% for good. The valley closes and the mountain is taller than your career ever was. And once you are on that mountain, there is no climbing back down. That is why the moment to act is while you are still in the valley. Here is the move the wealthy make in that valley, and it is simple. It is called a Roth conversion, and it is not complicated. You take money from the traditional IRA during those low income years. You pay the tax on it now, while your rate is low. Then you move it into a Roth, where it grows tax-free forever. No more taxes on it, no forced withdrawals, ever again. It becomes the one account the IRS can no longer reach into. You fill the cheap 12% bracket on purpose before the IRS fills 24. Same dollars, taxed at half the rate, just because you chose the year. Let me make that concrete with one simple couple. Say they have taxable income of $70,000 sitting in the 12% bracket. The top of that bracket in 2026 is about $100,800. That leaves roughly $30,000 of room before the 22% rate. So they convert $30,000 to a Roth and pay just 12%. They fill the bracket right to the top and not a dollar over. That is a tax of about $3,600 on the whole conversion. Wait until 73, and that same $30,000 could be taxed at 22 or 24, closer to $7,000 on the exact same dollars. They cut the tax roughly in half, and future growth is tax-free. Do that for several years, and the savings compound into real money. Not from a hot stock, just from choosing the cheaper year. Think about that for a second. It is the same money either way. The only variable that changed was the calendar year the tax got paid. The retiree who understands the valley pays the toll when it is cheap. The one who does not pays it later, expensive, plus penalties. Plus a bigger Medicare premium, which we will get to shortly. The toll is the same road, priced by the year you drive it. There is a second reason to shrink that traditional account early. Every dollar you convert will never become a forced distribution. Those withdrawals are calculated off your traditional balance. A smaller balance means smaller forced withdrawals at 75, 80, and 85. You are quietly draining the tax bomb before it can ever go off. So the benefit compounds, lower taxes now and lower taxes at 85. One quiet decision keeps paying you back for decades. And it does not stop with you. This is where it gets powerful. A traditional IRA handed to your children is a tax trap. Most heirs must empty an inherited account within 10 years. Every dollar comes out taxable in their peak earning years. A Roth handed to those same children comes out completely tax-free. Those valley conversions can cut your children's tax by tens of thousands. Now let me be honest, a conversion is not free or right for everyone. You have to pay the tax now, in cash, ideally from outside the IRA. So you need some savings on hand to cover it. Convert too much in 1 year and you tax yourself at a higher rate. And there is a sneaky one that catches a lot of people. Your conversion counts as income for Medicare, and it charges RMDs. In 2026, the base Part B premium is about $203 a month per person. Cross above $218,000 as a couple, and it steps up a tier. It keeps stepping up to nearly $690 a month per person at the top. For a couple, that surcharge can cost thousands of extra dollars a year. All triggered by a conversion that pushed you one tier too high. Worse, RMD looks back 2 years at your income. Cross the line by a single dollar, and the whole surcharge hits. Planners call these the income cliffs, and they are unforgiving. So the strategy is not to convert as much as possible. It is to fill the low bracket to the brim, then stop at the edge. Precision is the whole game. A dollar over can undo the savings. That is why you go slow and steady, one careful year at a time. There is a gentler cousin worth a mention for the charitably minded. After age 70 and a half, you can send IRA money straight to a charity. It counts toward your withdrawal without ever showing as taxable income. It will not build a Roth, but it drains the account without the tax. There is one more reason, and it circles back to the person left behind. When one spouse dies, the survivor stops filing jointly. Those wide, forgiving brackets get cut roughly in half. So the same forced withdrawals push a widow into a painful bracket. Every dollar you convert now is one she never takes as a forced withdrawal. The tax window is quietly protecting whichever one of you lives longer. That is why this is a window, and not a single one-time move. You do not convert everything in a single year. You convert a careful slice each year, topping off the cheap bracket. Staying under the Medicare cliff, year after year after year. from the year you retire until the year before withdrawals begin. Retire at 63, start distributions at 73, and you have 10 of these years. 10 chances to move a slice from the taxed pile to the tax-free pile. Each year you skip is a slice locked forever at the higher rate. The window never reopens once age 73 arrives. And yet most people use 0 of these 10 precious years. So why does almost nobody do this? The reason is human, not financial. It feels wrong to pay a tax you were not even asked to pay yet. Every instinct says, leave the nest egg alone, do not touch it. Pulling from an IRA in your 60s feels like a step backward. So people sit on their hands and walk into the exact tax bomb. The very caution that protected the account is what detonates it. Waiting feels safe, right up until the day it is suddenly not. The discipline that helped you save becomes the mistake that costs you. It is not one thing, it is a good habit pointed the wrong way. There is also a paralysis that comes from not knowing the number. How much should I convert? What if I do it wrong? So they do nothing, which is itself a choice and usually the most expensive one. But the number is not a mystery, it is simple arithmetic. Find the top of your bracket, subtract the income you already expect. The gap is roughly how much you can convert at that low rate. Fill it, or most of it, and stop before the next bracket or cliff. It is arithmetic, not magic, the same the wealthy pay advisors to run. Which brings us to the final piece, the one that ties it all together. Stop thinking of retirement as the finish line for the money work. The years right after you stop working are not a victory lap. They are the most important tax planning years of your entire life. And almost nobody tells you that because the deadline is invisible. There is no ceremony when the cheapest tax years of your life begin. And they are silent. Nothing forces you to act. No W-2, no April surprise, no boss, and no alarm clock. The valley just sits there, offering the lowest rates you will ever see. And it closes on a fixed date whether you used it or not. The wealthy treat those years like a job to be done. Everyone else treats them like a break and pays for 20 years. Here is the line to carry out of this whole thing. You cannot choose whether your accounts get taxed, only the year. And the year you choose sets the rate you pay. The valley is the cheapest year and age 73 is the most expensive. Everything in between is just you deciding when to pay. And doing nothing quietly picks the expensive option for you. Leave the valley empty and you are voting to pay the expensive rate. So picture 2 neighbors who retired the same summer with $1 million each. The first one relaxed and left the money completely alone. He felt proud he was not touching his nest egg, and he waited. It felt responsible. And it was quietly the costliest thing he did. He mistook doing nothing for playing it safe. Then at 73, the bill he avoided arrived all at once, with interest. At 73, the forced withdrawals hit, stacked on his Social Security. They pushed him into 24% and triggered a Medicare surcharge. And he handed his kids a 10-year tax headache when he passed. The second neighbor spent those quiet years quietly converting a slice. She paid just 12% each fall, while it was cheap. By 73, her traditional account was a fraction of the size. Her forced withdrawals were small, and her Medicare stayed low. And her Roth was growing tax-free for the grandkids. Over a lifetime, the gap between them runs into 6 figures, plus whatever his children lose emptying that account in peak years. Same $1 million, 2 completely different tax bills, decided entirely in the years everyone else was ignoring. Neither earned more, neither took more risk in the market. One treated the quiet years as an opportunity, the other as a rest. If you are anywhere between retirement and 73, do not waste another year. Send this to the person you know who just retired. They probably think the hard part is already over, but the smartest money years are the ones sitting right in front of them. One conversation now could save their family a small fortune later. Like this if it made the window make sense, and subscribe. The next one shows exactly how much to convert without the Medicare trap.